ridiculous.
Ladies and gentlemen,
what you gonna do, brother?
oh yeah!
Woo! What? If you smell what the rock. You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Welcome, everybody, to Round the Turnbuckle. I am the Big Albowski. He is, as always, Professor Keith. And I am delighted, and so is Keith, to welcome back once again the mind, the myth, the legend, mean Mark Mest. What's up, my man?
Not much. Thank you for having me.
We love having you. You know that. And before we dive into that beautiful wrestling mind of yours, I got to pay some bills. When it comes to natural relief, turn to Dr. Brown CBD. Dr. Brown CBD uses the latest scientific knowledge and experienced professionals to create top-of-the-line CBD products at affordable prices. Go to that website right there at the bottom of your screen, www.momandpopcbdshop.com, to see all their stuff, to see everything that they offer. And they have 5 locations in the Lehigh Valley: Easton, Wind Gap, Bechtelsville, Hackettstown, New Jersey, and Washington, New Jersey, right around the corner from the professor.
Yeah.
With that being said, bills are paid. Welcome back, man. How you been?
Good. I've been good. Just taking one day at a time, because that's all you can do,
See what I say? Hello. Did you start? Yeah, we start. What I say? What's up, Big Pat? How you doing, buddy? The comments are starting to fly in. But okay, so we were talking pre-show, because the last time that we had you on, we got into the school. We're going to talk about the school, but we got into the school. We got into how you started in wrestling, all that kind of stuff, and what you've been up to now. So what I thought we should talk about, a really important subject that seems to be on everybody's plate right now, especially in the wrestling business. If your name's not Tony Khan or Vince McMahon, is COVID's grip on the independent wrestling scene. Guys are trying to have live events and they just can't do it. This governor, that governor has different rules. What's your take, Mark, on what's been going on as far as COVID's grip tightening on the independent wrestling circuit?
Well, I mean, as you can see, there's been so many restrictions no matter where you go. I mean, if you go down south, they're not as bad and they're running some shows. But like here in PA, you're allowed, 10%, 2,000 people, 10%, which if you think about it, isn't a lot. So you have a building that even holds, say, 500 people. 10%, isn't a lot. And that includes your staff, your wrestlers, the whole 9 yards. So unless you're in a really big building, which is going to cost you an arm and a leg anyway, you can't run a show because you're going to lose money and you're not going to be able to bring people in to watch it. So, it's been horrible lately. I mean, COVID has really gotten us down and it sucks. But unfortunately, the state, PAs, you have to guideline it. And I understand. I mean, here recently, my dad just had it, right after Christmas, and he was hospitalized for a couple of days, and he was strong enough to get out of there after a few days, and he got over it. But it is no joke. You have to be very careful. And I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, us as wrestlers, promoters, whatever,
right,
we're gonna have to stay positive on this. We're just gonna try and wait this out, and hopefully the vaccines come in, which some people want to take them, some won't take them for whatever reason. But if we can bring it down where they start to open things up more, we might be able to do shows. But if not, we'll be waiting until summer for any shows because it's just too cold to do them outside now.
Big Pat got over COVID as well, and it sucked. Thank God you're okay, buddy. I'm glad you're feeling better.
It's tough. I mean, I've known some people that had it. I was quarantined because of my dad and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just one of them things where it's like, you have to do it. It's what's the law. You got to, because the last thing you want is to infect other people. And, unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it until it gets better.
What's up, Ryan Vox? Thank you so much, Big Al. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. I've known Big Pat for a long time.
When we can always hope that it's going to get better, and we have to think positive about it, because I mean, if we don't, that's a lot of people are depressed, and I understand, because jobs are being lost. You're not supposed to go anywhere. You're supposed to stay at home. You're supposed to work from home if you can. Yeah, I mean, it's monotonous. It's the same thing over and over and over. It's like Groundhog Day, and you just can't get out of that funk. So what do? You get depressed, you get anxious, because it's becoming a burden, and it's a really bad thing right now. But
Keith, we promised everybody to take them away from everything for an hour. And what do we talk about? COVID. It's invaded around the turnbuckle, Keith.
Yeah. That was his idea, by the way, everybody. So when you start sending
of course, throw me under the bus. Well, I mean, I just watched an online stream, right, with Rob Noxious and company, and they were doing a wrestling event live streaming on Facebook, and it was great. But the thing was, without the fans, without being there live, like, it just wasn't the same thing, man. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, you're dying for good wrestling live, and they wanna perform in front of us just as much as we want to be ringside to watch it. And it sucks.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark. Miss Dixie here.
Hey, how are you? Hope you're doing well.
We always knew it was going to be a challenge, right? Because, I mean, you go back to Lawler and Funk having that empty arena match as a novelty, and it wasn't good. It really, I mean, you got two of the best of all time in there, no doubt, and they did the best they could with what they had. But, I think we've all sat there and watched, and if you haven't, you can find it on YouTube. You can find a decent copy of it on YouTube. But I mean, it didn't work, because wrestling is meant to be in front of people. You need the people, and live sports too kind of needs the people, but not the same way wrestling does. Wrestling is so uniquely interactive with the fans.
That is true, but at the same sense, like, if like the NFL, they allow only so many people, or they weren't allowing anybody. They have so many sponsors that they can play no matter what, where Vince can do that and AEW can do that and Impact, but us indie guys that have no sponsors or very little can't run the shows even if we wanted to, just because there's no income to back that up. So, yeah, I mean, fans what make this business. But again, like, I think we touched about this the last time I was on. The new way is the virtual. We're going online to watch it. Yeah, it's not the same, but that's kind of where the state we're in right now. And I think if you're a wrestling fan, just like I'm a big football fan,
right?
There's no fans there, or there's very little. I still watch the football games.
Yeah,
and just because I want to watch them play, I want to see what happens. Fans or no fans, because they make that touchdown, or they make that first down, or that 4th and inches, and the crowd erupts or whatever. I'm sure that helps them, but at the same time, we're all watching online, or on TV, just because we love it. It's our passion, so we're going to be there no matter what. So it's
the answer. Christina's question is, have we lost anyone to COVID? Not me personally. Keith, you've had friends that had it, but not people that you've lost.
Trying to think. Because I know my cousin's husband passed over Christmas. I don't think that.
And Mark mentioned earlier his dad had a bout with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody that I know has passed from it, but like, you see a lot of things online where you see people, their families are losing them here and there, and it's really sad because, some people still think this is a kind of a big joke.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the bad attitude to have. That's that you can't just say, I'm not going to wear a mask because the government told me to. It's not a political thing. You really just need to just take care of yourself and other people. and just wear the damn mask out in public or in public places, especially. The thing with the matter of what you mentioned earlier about football was that they did have last week at Buffalo. I think they had 6,000 fans.
Yep.
I think this week the NFL is pushing for them to have about like 10,000 fans per game at the game. Right. And then the Super Bowl itself, they want like at least 15, maybe 20,000. I mean, you think that's kind of pushing things, or I mean, at the end, I haven't heard of any NFL fan, getting COVID, or maybe a group of fans getting COVID from attending these games.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard much either. I haven't really read into a lot of it, but I mean, if it's safe and they do it, smart, I don't see why not. I mean, you look at other gatherings, and I don't want to bring it up because I know you don't talk about it. I don't like to talk about.
I know. Go Bills.
No, but being political, but like.
No, I know.
They have people there and they're separated. So if they can do it, why can't sporting events?
True.
Keep people separated. Make sure everybody's got masks, whatever that needs to be done, so they can get in there safe, get out safe. If it's safe, why not do it?
I am with you 1,000% on that. I mean, political or not, I'm with you. If they can do it at big stadiums like that, why can't you do? I mean, I know it's winter time, so it's kind of hard to do an outdoor thing. I know a lot of these, but the thing is with the football, you're outdoors. You're not in an arena. You don't see fans at NBA games or NHL games right now.
Right.
Like zero fans. Like not even a percentage. They're just not doing it at all.
Yeah,
they're still having these games.
Everybody's different, I guess. Which I understand. You have to figure out. Do you just play it safe, which a lot of them are, and I get that because the last thing you want is a big outbreak. Because remember, look at how many teams got nailed with COVID, and then the players couldn't play, and like because they somebody maybe was near somebody that had COVID or possibly, so they had a quarantine. So throughout the football season, there were teams that were with guys getting quarantined all the time. So maybe they don't want to go through all that, which I can't blame them because, you got some star guys that are going, look, you got to sit because you can't play because you got COVID or you're around somebody that's had it.
Right.
You're quarantined. That just hurts the team now, So I get why they do what they do, All
right, man. So let's switch gears for a little bit and talk about what you've been up to lately. I mean, you talked the pre-show about the dungeon and how the dungeon's going right now. And if you want to get involved in that, right there's the website right there. Go to Facebook and /Dungeon Strong.
Yeah, we actually have well, it's not a new, but it's a website that I'm starting to rebuild. It's actually dungeonstrong.com.
Okay.
So, but that's still under view. I haven't worked on enough, but there's a new website coming and everything. The school, we're taking it day by day, we've been, we were shut down in December because of the state. They shut us down because we were a gym. So we weren't allowed to do anything, for those 3 weeks or whatever it was, but, we're back. We're allowed to go back in now. And so, I mean, we're training maybe 1 day a week right now, maybe twice, just to see. And, it's limited on people, so we're staying safe and everything, but it's all we can do. But we're talking about maybe trying to do something more online, like Dungeon University going online where you can take courses, but that's down the road yet. But that's something we're looking that hopefully that we can get going soon. And another way for people to get into it without actually getting into the ring yet because of COVID and because of all the health, issues that the state has given us, and we just have to figure out that work slow, but work safe at the same time.
Rob Knox just chimes in with, we were safe, we sanitized people, the ring, the school, everywhere, plus check temperatures.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to do it.
Hey Mark, it's Dakota.
One of my students.
Mark is the best trainer you can ever have.
Dakota's one of my very young students. He was training little bit before he was 18. He is now 18,
Mhm.
but with everything going on, he just turned 18 a few months ago, so hasn't been out to be able to in a real match yet or anything because of all this. But
right, and that's what we're talking about, right? Everything's slowed down, right?
yeah, and it's slowing down, and it's going to, and it may even slow a little more until it gets better. But like I said, we got to stay positive with things because if not, we're all just gonna go crazy.
Keith was
Yeah.
talking pre-show about seeing your Facebook posts and some of the stuff that you say on Instagram or Twitter, where you you always seem positive, right, Keith?
Oh yeah, Mark's always got something good to say. He's, you can go through Facebook and it's like negative, political post. Oh, there's Mark. And Mark's always stop and read because Mark's always just trying to put positive vibes out there in the world, and it's good. It's appreciated. I'm sure everybody else who gets to read that appreciates it too.
Yeah, and the thing is, like I said, it's so easy to be negative anymore. It's so
Right.
easy to look. I mean, you look on, like you said, you look on Facebook and you see everything. Like there's people fighting, and it's becoming a cesspool, unfortunately. Like, why add to it? Because that's so easy to do. Make the challenge to put something positive out. Because, if you don't, you're going to be just like everybody else. And then, I understand, like, people get depressed, anxiety, and we all go through that. But at the same time, you need to latch on something. You need to find something to keep you positive through stuff. Because, through Facebook, sometimes you'll see something that's really cool. You know what? I'm going to say this. There is something on Facebook. You want a tearjerker? I don't know if you guys follow him or friends, but Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports.
Mhm.
That guy, he's raised over $20 million for small businesses. You look for him on Facebook, you follow him, and you look at his stories. People are crying because he is helping small businesses one by one, help build them. They're raising all this money. He put in like $500,000 of his own. He's got all these couple other big guys that put in a lot of money. I think they have over $20 million raised for small businesses all over the the U.S. You don't have to be just in the East Coast or whatever. You follow him and you see that stuff. That stuff there, I follow him. Like that stuff there, it brings a tear to my eye when you see these guys. He does the video face chat and he calls them saying, "Hey, we're going to help you out," and they just sit there and they start crying because their business was going to fold. They couldn't pay their employees. All this stuff was going, and here's Dave going, "We're going to help you. We're going to help you out. We're going to give you until this COVID passes. We're going to make sure that your bills are paid, that you can survive this, so your business survives." That is so positive.
That's awesome.
If you don't follow him, you need to look for him on Facebook. He's on Instagram as well, but Facebook, he puts a lot of posts up. Well worth the follow because, like I said, it'll bring a tear to your eye because it did me every time. That's the positivity we need.
Absolutely, man. And and you know what the thing is, that's what we try to do here, right? I mean, we Keith and I have interviewed now over 50 people, different levels, right? Guys that are just starting off in the business, guys that have been around a while, guys that are trainers like Rudy Boy Gonzalez, yourself, Rob Noxious. And then we've had the bigger stars veterans like Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat. But we try so hard to infect positivity out there. And like I said earlier, this freaking thing, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Watching that live stream earlier today with Rob and the guys wrestling and things like that, watching those guys wrestling on the live stream, that's what we're at, where we're at right now. It really got to me. I was like, man, like, you know what I mean? We
definitely not the same. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's hard to stay positive. But
is.
we got football tomorrow, and that's semi-positive for some people, and but we're gonna keep it rolling. But who do we got here? How's it going, Mean Mike City?
Mike, how you been, man?
Thank
So,
you
yeah,
all for the support. Listen, Mike, I want to tell you something. Speaking of support, I was telling this to my wife because you know how there was just 2 back-to-back really huge lotteries just now. I think the Powerball was like 700 million, and the last night's Mega Millions was $1 billion.
Right.
I said if I were to miraculously win that and then get struck by lightning, 2 seconds later, I would get together with Keith. We would start our own damn promotion, and we'd have you and Rob running the damn thing.
Oh, that'd be great.
your wife would never let you do that.
Oh, why not? Oh, why not? And I'd pay these guys a living to like not crazy amounts, but a living. Why
Have
not?
you met your wife? She's not going to let you do that.
Not bad, he says. Hope all is well with you.
Doing well, thank you.
Have I met? Yeah, you've met my wife,
I
but
have. That's why I know she won't let you do it.
I'm just saying. Did I win? No, some jabroni in Michigan won.
Well, if you would have won, I mean, she'd have unlimited money, so I mean, that would make her happy, right?
Exactly, Keith. She'd be able to spend whatever she wants while I'm sitting there with these guys coming up with cool ideas for promotion.
Right?
Somewhere
Yeah.
along the way, she would figure out how to make $5,000. That old joke about how do you make $5,000 in the wrestling business? Start with $10,000.
Right. Mark is one of the most genuine guys I've ever met. So honored to call him my friend. I love you, Mark. Jeff.
Jeff, love you too, man. Hope you're doing well.
So I have a question. I want to pick your brain about this, and I know Alan's been interested in this too. With all the problems with having an audience and stuff, now you've been doing shows online. You've been doing Outbreak Wrestling and stuff like that. Do you think that there's a feasibility for other promotions to maybe try that, and that there might be a nominal fee or something they could do to try to somehow make money? Or do you think the audience pool is probably not big enough at this level for anything like that to really take off and work?
I think a lot of it depends on what you have, and it's like anything. Wrestling, you can take wrestling so many different directions. Like if you search YouTube, have you searched it lately? Have you seen all like some of the dumb stuff?
Yeah.
And you look at that and you look like they have millions of views. How? If it's interesting and they want to watch, they'll watch. Now with wrestling, can it be done? I think so. But again, it's got to be done right. It has to be, and then you need a certain amount of guys, but you also need to be, the guys need to, and nothing against like local guys and stuff like that, but if you can bring in somebody that's got kind of a name behind them, an indie name, doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be like somebody who's been there already,
right?
But somebody to give you credibility.
Yep.
Right.
That's what you need. You need credibility in this business. And if you have something like that you can do, is it feasible? Yeah. I mean, will you make a lot of money? It's hard to say.
Right.
Depending what area you're in, and if you can get people to start sponsoring you little here by little, and that's tough right now. But I mean, I'll never say never, because that's the wrestling business. You can never say it'll never happen.
Right.
Because when you say never, then it usually happens.
Is it feasible you could come up with something like that, get a big name, a la like what AEW did with Jericho, right? They brought Jericho in, and that kind of helped put them on the map in the beginning, put them in as champion. He was their first champion. So if you could bring a name in that does the same thing for you, and have a dozen to 20 committed guys committed to doing this thing, couldn't you have a thing where you had either a website or some kind, or a Patreon or something like that, where people paid, even if it's whatever they could afford, $2, $3, $4, $5 to watch?
Absolutely. I mean, like, you can do that now with like Twitch. You can do where pay-per-view for Twitch, or you can do you can do one of the things where you can put up a donation box or whatever.
Right.
I mean, you can do that on YouTube too, if you somebody's PayPal or whatever, and donate. It can be done. I guess the big question is there enough interest to make any type of money?
Yeah.
again, it's hard to say. It all depends what kind of product you're, straight up wrestling.
But at this
People like
time,
wrestling, it's good. It's tough at this time.
where at this no, yeah, it's tough. But at this time, the interest of wrestling has swayed from like old school stuff that, like, say, me and Keith are used to, to the more indie stuff like my son is used to.
Right.
So there is an interest in that if you get the right people and the right, the right camera, the right venue, all that cool stuff.
Right. And it also depends on too where, like, you need all that stuff. Everything has to line up. It's like, if things line up and work out, but at the same time though is, again, it comes back to the interest. You could have great quality wrestling. Okay. But if it's not something that's interesting, like the general public, like you're gonna have your fans that may follow. But what about the fans that maybe aren't quite wrestling fans, or they're on the fence? Like, should I watch this or shouldn't I watch this?
Right.
And they tune in. It's like, oh, it's wrestling. But hey, I can watch wrestling any other place. So why would I want to watch these? But I don't know these people.
Well,
so
that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Rob Noxious says that Mike did well today. He wrestled Stefan. Cha-ching sounds good, Alan. Sure. I did watch that match. I saw Mike versus Stefan Ramon. That was a good match.
Well, I will say this with Stefan. If you can't have a good match with Stefan can lead almost anybody in this business. He's really good.
He is good.
And I'm not just saying it, because it was Rob and everything,
right.
But no, he's really good. Like I was hoping that Stefan would have went somewhere, or it still can go somewhere. He just, if he focuses, I think he could be, he could be an Impact. He could. Well,
I told him to his face, he reminds me a lot of Kevin Owens, in his mannerisms and his move set. Not too much like Kevin Owens. I'm just saying, he's not a carbon copy. I'm talking about I'm talking about his motion in the ring,
right?
And the way he tells a story in the ring, the way he keeps it fluid, the way he keeps it going, and then he can throw that body around like Kevin Owens can do with his body.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like I said, I always loved the way he wrestled. What he could do. He's good. He's very knowledgeable, and he understands psychology. He gets it. He does. So. Maybe I need to light a spark under his ass to keep get him motivated more.
Well, we'll see. So the dungeon, like you said, there might be a future in where you're doing online courses and things like that. How would it work with the physical part? You said that would be towards the end, like you would try to teach them as much as you could online. And then work into the physical part?
I mean, we have a lot of kinks to work out on how we're going to do it, but the common theory is this, wrestling is not all in ring. There's a lot of stuff you need to understand, terminology, you need to understand psychology, you need to understand how to protect yourself. You got to understand learning your basics, learning holds, the names of them to get them right, There's a lot of stuff that, ring psychology, trying to break that down. Basic fundamentals, learning how to get in a ring right. A lot of people don't even know how to get in the ring properly, let alone anything else. Wiping your feet, the respecting. There's a lot of stuff that we can cover outside the ring that we don't have to be in ring. A lot of mental stuff, a lot of stuff that, you need to learn. So, I mean, you'd be learning it if you were training at a school. You'd be learning it, you get in the ring, you do so much. When you're done, you get out, then you'd be talking about other stuff. So why not get ahead of it? If we can't get in the ring because the COVID's keeping, people, away, and it's just having some trouble, you can get online, get some knowledge, and then what I'm hoping to do is whatever the courses would cost would go towards the full tuition of the school.
Right.
So, that way you guys, if you learn, and then besides not just learning, there's promo class that we used to do a lot of. So we can do a promo course, learning guys to cut promo, to learn to get, being charismatic, building charisma, trying to figure out the character that you're going to be. learning to cut them one-on-one promos, those 30-second promos, those minute promos. There's a lot to learn outside the ring. You just don't have to be in the ring, which if you work on that now, because you can be the best wrestler in the world, but if you don't have a character, you don't have any charisma, and you can't talk, the odds of you going anywhere are slim to none, just because, yeah, you can wrestle, but now they want the package. They want you to look good. They want you to be able to talk and walk at the same time. If you can't do any of that, then especially if you're timid and you can't talk and you can't talk on the mic, now's the time to come over that fear, because if you don't overcome that fear, you're never going to get to that next level, because that's what's going to hold you back.
So an interesting segue, you mentioned promo, that Keith, and I talked to you earlier today, Mark, and Keith as well, that next Saturday at 6 o'clock on Around the Turnbuckle, we're going to have our Royal Rumble special, and Mark is going to be with us there, as well as Rob Noxious and a few others. And we are going to do a Royal Rumble special. Now, not only are we going to talk about the actual WWE Royal Rumble, which to WWE's, whether it be detriment or whatever you want to say, they've only announced a small handful. They always wait to the last minute. So we can't really, predict it per se until they give us, at least 15, 20 guys to choose from, and females as well. We'll talk about what they're going to do at the Rumble, and that they're actually going to try to have some fans in the stands in Tampa Bay for the Royal Rumble. In addition to that, we're also going to have our own Royal Rumble, but in the form of promos, since everybody's going to be online. And how that's going to work is that we're going to start off with a couple of guys, and who are going to shoot promos against each other. And when they shoot promos against each other, I'm actually going to put them on the full screen, so you can't see any of our reactions except for that person on the full screen looking straight into the camera at their opponent. Once they shoot against each other, then Keith is going to judge who the winner of that was. If there is a definitive winner, the loser is eliminated. The winner stays in. And throughout the show, we're going to have more people show up via a Rumble countdown. There'll be a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They'll come in, and there'll be now we can have up to 10 people in this room. But I mean, me, you, Keith, and Rob always stay put. Okay.
Right.
So technically we can have 6 more than what we have. But anyway, at the end, the last person standing, and I say person because women are also welcome. The last person standing will win an Around the Turnbuckle gift package and the honor of being the winner of the first inaugural Around the Turnbuckle promo Rumble.
Nice. So
that's next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Thank you for mentioning the word promo. It was a great segue. Keith, you excited about that?
I am. No one kill me. It's just business. It's not personal.
Yeah, nobody attack him, all right? Nobody attack him. All right, very good. What's this now? Lee, I really miss sharing a locker room with Mark, Rob, and crew. Can't wait to hopefully see everyone in person sometime soon. I've learned so much from Mark and Rob and others over the years. That's from Lee.
Lee, man, I hope you're doing well, man. I miss you too, man. It's all the Tate shows and everything that we've done and stuff. I haven't seen Tate in a while. I know he was trying to run a few shows that I didn't get to, but yeah, I used to go to Tate's all the time. Used to wrestle there. Got to see Lee a lot. So hope you're doing well, bud. Hopefully we will see each other soon.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Like I said, I'm so glad that Keith and I have this kind of forum where we do get to see people on a weekly basis that are in this business, and we get to talk about our favorite business. But again, it's like, like we try to stay out of politics, and we try to stay out of like negativity. And COVID's gotten so bad, it's invaded Around the Turnbuckle today. Dylan Quinn, how's it going, guys? Miss y'all.
Dylan, buddy, hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Keith, how you feeling, by the way?
I mean, I'm okay. I just started a week's vacation because the
Oh,
holiday.
he's on vacation.
Yeah, the holiday and everything was nuts. I need to heal.
No wonder you seem quiet today. I was like, man, he hasn't said a lot.
Yeah.
Hashtag Dungeon Strong. Yeah, he's probably tired. That's why every once in a while I kind of light him up a little bit and see what's cooking over there.
I have to cut a promo on him.
I'd love to see. I would absolutely love to see some of the wrestlers who get eliminated during this promo rumble next week cut a promo on Keith on their way out for making that judgment.
I bet you would.
I absolutely would. Absolutely. I'm just an advocate. That's all I am.
Right, yeah. Might have some sore losers. You never know,
Yeah, Keith, you just got to call it like you see it, right? Oh, and in the event of a tie, like if you say there's no definitive winner here, they both can stay. They both can stay, and we'll keep going.
Right. Sounds fair.
I have 12 confirmed entries, and if anybody's watching this and they want to enter, I have 12 open spots. I have reached out to 25 people total. I have 12 confirmed entries. If anybody wants to be in it, send me a personal message, and we'll hook you up. Definitely.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Mark's promos are the best. That's what I got right here. Yeah, Dylan. Mark's promos are the best, I hear. Yeah.
I try. I mean,
thanks, Mark. I'm good. Hope your family is good as well. Same to you. But you're getting a lot of love today, bud.
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of, this is the start of my 30th year. So in the business.
Nice.
April of 91 is my first start when I first started training. So come April this year, it'll be 30 years. And then come July, my first match. So, 30 years this year. So it's been a long road, but honestly, I loved every second of it.
Dude, and, you're the Undertaker of the Indies. Been around 30 damn years.
Well, it's funny when I did this segment with Vader it was KPW out there in Lancaster. I was supposed to have the match with Vader, and he wanted to wait. And I think, looking back, I understand why he did what he did, and he was, but we did the thing where we beat up BJ Walker. I first cut a promo and introduced him. He had, and his accolades, what he wanted done, and I did all that for him. And he come out, and then BJ Walker, came out, and we beat up BJ Walker, and then I challenged him next month to the match.
Right.
And he's like, because he even said to me, he's like, so you're like, and he said it, and I don't know if he just meant to say it or it slipped out. He's like, so like, you're like the king of it, you're like the king of indies around here, right? I'm like, I don't know if I'm the king of anything around here, but I was like, okay, we'll run with that,
Yeah.
But we shook hands to set up for the date that never happened. But being in the ring with him though it was amazing,
I bet.
It was like one match that I wish I had. It's it's right there. I just couldn't quite have it, but still being in there, being able to be, face to face, the handshake that we had, was very I couldn't ask for anything better, and
yeah, man. And that's how me and Keith felt about like when we were interviewing Stevie Ray. It was like, I can't believe I'm having a conversation with Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat right now. You know what I mean? Right. It was surreal. Dylan, he is the reason why I got confident in mine, meaning his promos. And man, of course, Mark is one of the good ones in wrestling.
Yeah, well, we kind of stopped for a little bit, but we had a promo class online through our messenger, and there was a bunch of other guys that were involved. Corey Cross, my brother. There was a few other people, and what we would do is a lot of the students or anybody else that didn't have to be just students, guys that wanted to get better. Each week we would pretty much say, come Monday, we would give them a topic that they had to do,
Right.
and they had to have the promo in by like Friday afternoon, Friday evening. So we gave them all week to work on it, and we did that for months, where we do different topics about different things, where they would have to cut a promo, whether it would be about themselves or if it would be that they had to be somebody, or they had to, be like I with one time we did a thing goes, you have a match against, and I think I used trying to think who I used at the time. It was their champion. Maybe it might. I don't think it was Lesnar. But I'd just say you're going up. Whoever the champion at the time was, your match at WrestleMania. This is your promo.
Mm-hmm.
I need a minute and a half of how you're going to beat this guy, whoever it was.
Right.
Type of thing. So and how to build up their confidence. Said I want bullet points, wanted the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But we would do that week after week after week. And we would critique them, saying this was good, should work on that, this and that, and just keep giving them pointers to get better, because the more you do, the better you get at it. But if you don't do them, how can you get better?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
XXW Wrestling, I think that's Dakota, right? I love the promo Mark cut on me. You cut a promo on him? Do you cut promo on all your students?
I do at some point, yes. What they were, don't ask me, because that just starts to go out this side.
You just go into a zone, right? You turn into Mean Mark, and then
pretty much,
right?
Pretty much, yep. There's that switch that you got to learn. Sometimes you just got to go, And that's the other thing too, is at the school when we would do them, we'd be like in the middle of the ring. Here's your topic. Go. We wouldn't even let you think about it, because you got to learn to be able to talk on the fly.
Right.
And what I will say, I was at, I think it was Rob. Rob did brought in Kevin Kelly a couple of years ago. And he said the one time, I know Kevin for 20 years plus. I've known Kevin Kelly when he was in WWF, and stuff. So he said that he told us a story about Roderick Strong in Ring of Honor. Roderick Strong couldn't cut a promo backstage. Like, it would take forever. Like, he had to probably do like 10 takes to get a promo. Yeah. So what they did was, at the end of his matches, they, during the TV, they'd be like, okay, and they put a mic right in front of him where he had to perform. He said he knocked it out of the park every time, because he didn't have to sit there and think about it.
Right.
He just did knowledge. They'd ask him a question or whatever it was, and he would just go, boom, because he didn't have to think about it. It was a topic that he knew, whatever. Where here backstage, he was like, trying to come up with something. Sometimes off the cuff is just better. Because you don't have to think about it and you just go. Whereas when you start thinking about it, you overthink. Then all of a sudden you just start like really overthinking to the point where it just messes you up. So sometimes off the cuff is better than just trying to pan it all out.
Ryan Vox chimes in. Mark and I have had some great promo wars.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah, we had some good ones. And that's the thing. It's like wrestling, and that's the fun part of wrestling. Like right now, we can't do a lot promo stuff. Learning to get better, learning to be able to cut a promo on somebody, not attacking them personally. Just whatever. Just you want to build them up, but at the same time, you're gonna tell them how you're gonna beat them.
And honestly, that was the difference between like old school and now, right? I mean, the old school promos are legendary. Ric Flair, Macho Man, even Hogan to some degree, like where you Stone Cold, The Rock. Yeah. Come on, The Rock. Yeah,
they were great, And the thing is, like, you're learning promos. You got to learn to build the guy that you're wrestling, because if you call them names,
right,
and then you lose to them, what does that make you?
Right.
If he's a piece of garbage or he's scum and he's this and he's that, and you don't give him any accolades, and then you lose to him, well, if he's scum, what are you?
It's amazing. It's amazing you say that, because at the time when I'm watching wrestling, say I'm watching The Rock cut a promo against Stone Cold Steve Austin, he likes to make fun of him and he likes to say,
Mm.
you know, funny stuff to make you laugh. But in the middle there, he says, I respect what you've done in the ring. You are a tough son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He always fits that in there, right?
Yeah, because if you don't build that guy up and then you don't beat him, but see, then on the other flip side, if you build him up and then you beat him,
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero said it perfectly. I forget. Eddie, somebody told me a story about Eddie where I met Eddie one time out in Pittsburgh. He was really, really, really nice dude. He was easy to talk to. But I remember a story about Eddie where they said that they were backstage, they were talking, and Eddie put the guy over big. Like in the ring doing stuff. And the guy's like, why did you do what you did? You didn't have to.
Right.
You know, I'm a nobody. He goes, yeah. He goes, my job is to make you a superstar. Because he goes, if I can't make you a superstar and I don't make you a superstar and I beat you, what does that do for me?
Mm.
But if I make you a superstar, okay, and then I beat you, okay, that, you know, I said, not only do I make you a superstar, I'm a superstar right next to you. You know, I brought you up to another level, you know, so I'm building you up. My job is to build you up, to make you look like you're a superstar. Doesn't matter if you're a nobody or not. You're a superstar. So I bring you up to my level to be a superstar. And it doesn't matter who wins.
That reminds me of the story with The Undertaker and Cody Rhodes. You know that one, Keith? The Undertaker and Cody Rhodes?
I'm not sure that I do. I know.
Oh, good. I get to tell Keith the Undertaker story he doesn't know.
I knew one from Chris Jericho's book that illustrates the same thing, where it was his first opponent, and he was cutting a promo on him and calling him old and this, that, and the other thing. And then I think he goes out and he gets beat, and the guy pulls him aside afterwards and goes, "Kid, I'm going to give you some free advice.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever cut a promo on somebody like that again.
Right.
Because when you call me an old man and you call me and you don't put over that I can do anything or whatever,
right.
I beat you. Now you look like garbage because the old man beat you.
Oh, they're right.
If you let there be light.
Let there be light.
Right?
No, if you beat me, you beat an old man who can't do anything, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, you won, but you didn't get anything out of it because wouldn't the expectation be because I'm old and I suck and this, that, and the other thing? Of course you beat me. So either way, you lost by what you said.
So if you want to confirm this story I'm about to tell, you can go on YouTube and you can just type in Cody Rhodes shoots on the Undertaker. All right. So Cody Rhodes was at an interview thing and he was answering questions from fans. Right. And somebody asked him about the Undertaker. I forget what the context of the question was, but Cody Rhodes says, "You want a story about the Undertaker? I'll tell you a story about the Undertaker. His first Royal Rumble," meaning Cody's first Royal Rumble. When he got in the ring, he was in the back and he was talking to the Undertaker, and the Undertaker was either right before him or right after him. So he talked to the Undertaker. He went up to the Undertaker and says, "Hey, we're going to be back to back. Is there anything you want to do with me? Like when I come out, you want to do anything or whatever?" And he says, "Yeah, we'll talk when we're out there, right?" Okay. So, because the Undertaker never likes to do anything like that. He likes to call it in the ring, right? He's old school.
Mm-hmm.
So Undertaker comes out. He's in the match. There's maybe 4 or 5 other guys in there with him. Everybody's brawling like they do at the Rumble. And then Cody comes out. All right. This is like, wet behind the ears, skinny ass Cody Rhodes, right? Who everybody knows he's Dusty Rhodes' son, but he hasn't really done anything yet.
Yeah.
Okay. He gets in the ring and he starts wailing away at the Undertaker. And then the Undertaker calls him. He says, "All right, Irish whip drop kick." So he grabs the Undertaker, Irish whips him off the ropes, comes back in, hits him with a drop kick right in the face. So then he gets down, he starts pounding on him. So then while he's pounding on him, the Undertaker's like, "All right, grab me, pick me up, throw me in the corner." Right? So he picks him up, throws him in the corner, and then he goes up and he starts pounding on him again. So in other words, he didn't have to let Cody Rhodes do that, but everybody's like, holy shit, Cody Rhodes is beating up on The Undertaker right now.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, and he made him his bitch for like 2 minutes or so, right? So then, of course, Undertaker reverses everything, gives him them freaking soup bones or whatever, and eventually is the guy that eliminates him. Later on, back in the back, when after Undertaker's eliminated, he goes in the back and he walks up, he hits Cody on the back, turns him around, he says, "Great job, kid." Cody says to him, "Why did you do that?" He says, "Because that's what you're supposed to do."
Mm.
Which is, I think, is the coolest freaking story I ever heard.
Yeah.
About
I mean,
the Undertaker.
and that from like that, I mean, and that's what's supposed to happen. I agree. Like, you know, you're supposed to, the guys that have been around are helped to build up. If that was 10, 15 years earlier, that would never happen.
Right.
Like when the
Exactly.
business was closed, and because you talked about a story, I like the story like I was told. You guys remember Baron Cicluna?
I don't remember watching Baron.
I've heard the name.
I was a little too young, but I do remember hearing about him, and I was watching a shoot that Bruno had done, and he talked about Baron Cicluna quite a bit because he was a contemporary.
A story was told to me one time. Him and a bunch of the guys would play cards before shows. Now this is probably WWF times, whatever. So you know, real old stuff.
Old school.
This young kid comes in, and he goes up, and he looks on the thing because he has to wrestle Baron. He's like, I gotta wrestle that old man. Man, why do I have to wrestle that old man? I you know. And Baron heard him, and the boys are like, "Oh man, huh?"
Oh.
So his thinking goes up. Now remember, this is WWF. They're doing TV tapings,
right?
So the kid comes up to Baron, and Baron's like, "What do you want to do?" Kid's like, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that." He calls all these different things that he wants to do to him. Baron's like, "Okay, or I'll see you out there." All right. So kid goes out. Baron comes out. The bell rings. They go to lock up. As they go to lock up, Baron goes, boom! Drops the kid. Pins him 1, 2, 3, knocks him out. As he gets back, they grab his stuff. They told the kid, get the hell out, you know, because of how disrespectful he was.
Right.
The older guys, oh man, why? I can't do anything with him. He's too old. He's this. He complained the whole time he was there. And they knocked him out in the middle of the ring. Drug him out. When he got back, they took his bag and they threw him out and said, "Don't ever come back." You know, so just goes to show back then you tried that, you know, but what Taker did, I mean, that's what guys have been that are in the business this as long as they've been. Those are the guys that need to help the younger guys get over. That's what we're supposed to do. The vets or whatever you want to call them, the guys that have the experience, those are the guys that got to help the younger guys get better. You know, it's paving that road.
Yeah, because you got to stop worrying about, you know, oh, my spot, you're going to take my spot. It's like, but if you're doing it correctly, nobody's going to take your spot. And eventually, you got to have people to work with. You got to have people to work with that people are going to pay to watch you work with. If you don't help anybody and you let everybody look like a sack of shit and nobody's over, nobody's going to pay. I mean, you look at, I'm not saying it's the guys' fault, but look at WWE right now. You know, nobody is being booked like a star. Everybody's kind of 50-50. You know, win some, lose some, win some, lose some.
Yep.
Okay, well, then why do I want to watch anybody? Why do I want to truly get behind anybody?
Well, and they don't have anybody, like, the names aren't really sticking out. Like, years ago, you had The Rock, you had Austin, you had those guys, Triple H, the guys that stuck out. You know, who really sticks out right now? They're pushing Orton, okay? They're pushing McIntyre, you know, okay, but they're not, they're top guys, but are they as top like guys like Rock and Austin? You know.
They're not, but I mean, I always feel like sometimes it's a little unfair to compare to guys like that because they're kind of the, you know, once in a generation or so kind of guys. But I mean, with the machine they have, and I'll agree with you on that, with the machine they have, with the experience the office has and everything like that, I don't understand why you can't make Orton or McIntyre more crossover than they seem to be. Why you can't make these guys, and their programs that much more interesting.
Well, I think part of the issue with them, though, goes to one, of course, booking, but two, they got to run with the ball. Like, I don't know if you've watched stuff online or look online, but you know how many people really complain about Randy Orton anymore? And I'm like, he's a good worker. He's psychology-wise, he's solid. He's boring. He doesn't belong on top. He just needs to get out. So you have a lot of people that don't like him for whatever reason. So you can't push him. If they didn't like him because they hated what he did, it's one thing. But to hate him because they don't like what he's doing is another. And how can you push somebody when the universe is going, I can't watch this because I can't watch him because I think he sucks, so he doesn't belong there.
It's
so
generations. It's generations.
Yeah.
Randy Orton is the last man standing in the ruthless aggression era.
Yeah.
And so now what they want, and now what people who are 30 or under want, is new faces, new stars. And WWE doesn't get that.
But I always caution too about how much you take the internet seriously, because there are some people on the internet, and I mean I've dealt with them, that would send me stuff. I'd be in wrestling groups or something on forums, and I would post stuff, and for whatever reason, people would be like, "Oh, you're so smart, you understand this so much." So then they'd send me these things of like, well, I think this guy, like somebody sent me something about Mark Henry was the best wrestler ever. And they gave me this whole list of different things, their criteria, and they're like, this is science. Mark Henry is scientifically the best wrestler ever. I'm
mathematically speaking.
No, it's subjective. If you subjectively think Mark Henry is the best wrestler ever, okay, I'll argue with you that he is. Yeah. But I mean, you can kind of create a scenario with anything to say this is the best or that's the best. There are people out there that are going to tell you Kenny Omega right now is completely untouchable. And I'm a guy that sits here, and the last time I saw Kenny Omega, I wasn't impressed. Like, yes, I know he's athletic. Yes, I know he's talented. I respect all that. I'm not trying to say I don't. But for me, it's too much hand gesturing. I see too much of how he makes the sausage. It doesn't flow, and it doesn't work for me. It becomes that stuff of like, I can see the cooperation. And to me, I don't want to see the cooperation. I know there's cooperation. I'm not stupid. And I say this all the time. People will go, oh, wrestling's fake, or they all cooperate with each other. Motherfucker, you'll watch Die Hard probably 1,000 times, and you'll get into it. They're cooperating. They're actors. They're playing. Bruce Willis was not trying to kill Alan Rickman. He did not push Alan Rickman out of that window and be like, we're doing this out of a real high rise. That motherfucker needs to die.
You saying Voldemort wasn't real?
But you don't care because you're interested in what's going on, and because they're good at what they do. And Alan's having a fit over there because apparently he thought Die Hard was real.
No, you're right. I understand what you're saying, but see, the problem though is, and part of that problem is why the magic. Wrestling is about suspending the disbelief. So he's not doing it for you. But I think, like, people don't. For you, with Omega, there's a lot of people that are thinking the same thing with like guys like Orton and other guys too. That are up there, but they're not doing anything or not doing anything big because the crowds or the people aren't just behind him. They're, take the ball and run with it. They're trying to, but they're slipping, they're fumbling at times. There's no true, like the magic isn't there like it used to be. Is that because maybe some of the fans aren't there? Maybe they don't wrestle. I mean, because they can't feed off of that as much, even though, if you had an arena full of, you had 20,000 people and you're and you have a match compared to a match in an empty arena, if you had them fans behind you and listening, that would, it helps bring your your heart rate up. You get your everything gets pumping, and it's like, oh my god. Now they don't have much of it, so could that be part of the issue? I'm
and
sure
that's what I
is.
miss, man. That's what I miss, and I
The
hope
adrenaline of like listening, getting behind the people, whether they're booing or they're chanting or whatever
Yes.
they're doing. It's hard. I mean, do you work as hard? Yeah, you try to.
Right.
Do you though? I mean, I don't know. You
You
may
can't
not.
play off the crowd, right? I mean, if you're having a match, there's one thing to tell a story in the ring. There's another thing to tell a story in front of fans because you're going to get a reaction out of what you do.
Right. And that's going to inform you whether or not what you're doing is working or not. If they're into it and you grab that chin lock and they're still into it, but maybe you've got that chin lock on for 2 minutes and they start to get out of it, like, okay, this chin lock is too long now. Now we got to get it into the next thing. We got to bring them back up.
Or like cheap moves. All right. I'm not talking like chicanery finishes. I'm talking like in the mid match. If like when the ref's not looking, somebody's choking somebody out. You hear the fans get all riled up about that.
Right.
What's the point of doing that? Like if I'm watching and there's no fans, I'm like, okay, he's choking him out. Hey ref, he's choking him out. Oh wait, he can't hear me. I'm watching on TV.
Right. It's definitely not the same. That's for sure.
I miss it, man.
Yeah, and the thing is too is, I think that we've seen so much of so many guys, especially now. Look what I like all the companies. I wish them all well. But when you have somebody on the show week after week after week after week,
yes,
it starts to dumb it down. We're like, he's on, okay. Oh, he's on again, okay.
Right.
Oh, okay. Get some fresh faces and try to build them up. Get them off TV for a week or two. Maybe, it becomes monotonous, Orton's on every week, so people are like, oh, him again. I mean, they have 3 hours, but you tell me they can't, keep him a week or two away, let him do something else. Omega, the same thing. Like, okay, I understand he's a champ now.
Right.
But keep him off TV for a week or so. Let that spot be filled with somebody else, maybe somebody that's getting an opportunity, something to help build something. Bring them back in a week or two for whatever the angle they're going to do. It'll help it look more prestigious. Years ago, Hogan was never on a lot of TV, pay-per-views.
Right.
Why? Because same way what Vince did with Lesnar. People hated that. Well, Lesnar never shows up. He's a part-timer. He's this.
He was there 4 times a year.
But the thing is, you might have got tired of Lesnar as champion.
Right.
But you didn't see him. So when he showed up, what did you hope? God, I hope he loses that damn title tonight because I'm sick of him.
Yes.
Never showing up on Raw or SmackDown. That SOB just needs to lose that title.
Same thing with The Undertaker once a year, right? At Mania, right? It was an attraction that you look forward to.
Yeah. That's what Vince did with Lesnar. He was an attraction. So we'll bring him in here at a couple places, and then you won't see him. Oh, and that may piss people off, like, oh, he doesn't defend the title. They go back to what happened to the 30-day rule. They had years ago.
Yeah.
That's out the window a long time ago.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah, but they actually had to mention. They actually had to mention it live on SmackDown that when Lesnar was champion, that kind of. I don't think they said it was dead. I think they said it was suspended until further notice.
Yeah.
No, I think they flat out said it's not a thing anymore.
Okay.
And that's the thing is, so you don't put them on TV as much. So so people get pissed off, which was okay because if people are talking about him online, that means there's an interest yet. Think of it, negativity. And Vince was okay with that. People are like, oh, man, Vince, he doesn't show. They give him all this money. He shows up on the pay-per-views, and he shows up on Raw or SmackDown every once in a great while, and he's getting way more than everybody else is. Maybe true, but at the same time, if Vince keeps him off of TV and people online are bitching about it and continuing to, guess what? That means they're still paying attention to when they go to Raw or SmackDown or the pay-per-views are coming up. Because oh, hey, Lesnar's going to defend against so-and-so. All right, they're going to bring him on Raw. They're going to bring him wherever and set him up, everything. but people are talking about it. As long as they're talking about it, you're relevant. That's the key,
Yes.
As long as
Absolutely.
they're talking about it and you're relevant, people are going to keep their interest, whether they like it or they don't like it. As long as there's controversy, he's making money.
Yep.
People are going to tune in. Oh, let's watch the pay-per-view. Okay, yeah, it's on the network, whatever. So what? Let's get, I got the network.
Some sell themselves, right? Including the Royal Rumble. I cannot miss no matter how bad the product may be in my eyes, I can't not miss the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because you just never know. It's a surprise. You never know what could
It's
happen.
fun. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And speaking of surprises, and speaking of Mean Mark Mest, next week he's going to be with us, Keith. We're going to wrap this up tonight, but next week at 6:00 on Around the Turnbuckle, we're going to have a Royal Rumble prediction special where it's going to be me and Keith and Mark and Rob Noxious, and we're going to talk about this year's 2021 Royal Rumble, WWE. But we're also going to have the inaugural Around the Turnbuckle promo Rumble, and who better to judge promos than Professor Keith? It's not that we're going to have two promoters in the room, Keith. Maybe disagreeing or disagreeing with you as far as your judging goes, Mark and Rob.
Wait, I smell a setup.
Should we have it by committee?
I
you and Mark and Rob.
This is another example of you trying to set me up. You're hoping that everybody just turns against me.
Never.
You will hear from my attorneys. Fleesom, Shyster. Crap, I forgot how that Three Stooges bit goes. That's what happens when I do things on the fly. It was like, I know one of them was Fleesom. It was like Fleesom.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
You lost me at Three Stooges or so. All right, if you guys want to get a hold of Mean Mark Mest and get involved with Dungeon University, go to www.facebook.com/DungeonStrong. You want to follow Mark on Instagram and Twitter, it's MM007. Do we have any parting gifts for Mark, Keith?
Well, obviously, we're just so happy you decided to come on and do this again because it's always fun. It's always fun to talk wrestling with
Always.
people,
And don't go away when I go off the air. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just yet.
Yeah,
All right.
so
But
thank you for showing up. Thank you for talking wrestling with us.
No problem.
man. And Mark, I'm gonna give you the last word, man. You're gonna take us to end.
All right. Well, guys, I really appreciate, you having me again. And maybe we'll have to do a part 3 sometime.
Anytime, man. You know that. This hour went by so damn quick. Like you are, for lack of a better term, you are so damn easy. Mm-hmm. Because all I gotta do
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, Alan. Jeez.
No, man, it's always fun. It's always fun, and it's a good time. And it did, I know we started in the beginning with COVID, but by the end, man, I had forgotten we talked about that. And then, I'm happy again. I'm smiling again, and it's all because of you. And thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. There's couple things I'd like to say right before we leave.
Go ahead.
One, coming up soon. Start looking for Outbreak Wrestling.
Yeah.
On the YouTube channel again. That should be coming hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe. But keep an eye out for that. And if you want to have a laugh, I started something a little while ago. I'm starting to get into it more. You guys want to have some fun? I actually have a TikTok.
Oh no.
No. Yes. So
no.
Yeah.
No. Oh my God.
Yep. So it's
you and Prince Shango, right? You guys should do a TikTok together.
Well, he can go live because I don't have enough followers to go live yet, which I'm trying to get to. He's got over 1,000. I only got like 200 and
yeah, but not all of his are live. He does a lot of editing.
No, I want to do stuff, but hey, if you guys want to have a laugh, I'm trying to grow over there as well because I want to
check that out. I'm checking that out.
So yeah, I've done a bunch of them already. So, but I think in general, like overall, we just got to stay positive.
Yes.
2021, it's a new year. We just have to hope and pray that, we will get through this, and we will. It's just a matter of when is the question. It's when. It's not It's not we won't. It's just we will. It's just a matter of when.
It's the power of positivity, kids.
That's
Power
right.
of positivity.
The power of positivity.
Not
That's
just
right.
a gimmick. It's a way of life.
That's right. It is.
And with
You know-
that, we'll see you next time on Around the Turnbuckle.
Ladies and gentlemen,
What you gonna do, brother?
oh yeah!
What? What?
If you smell what the rock